Okay, as promised, we got nutrition. So we're going to talk about nutrition in this episode because if you guys remember what I said in the last video, nutrition is 90% of your results. In case I didn't say that, I more than likely did. But just in case I didn't say that, I'm saying it again now, okay? Nutrition is 90%. Now, I'm actually going to show you and give you like your macros, some basic macros. There's a million ways of actually doing this, right? I'm going to give you a very, very basic level on how to actually do it. And if you follow these macros, you literally can lose all the fat you possibly want. All right. But we're going to kind of go over it and help you understand these things. Like I'm speaking to like a 5-year-old child that doesn't understand this. I've been in the industry a long time. So it's, for me, this is like normal stuff. But for you, this is going to be new. All right. So when it comes to macros, just so you know, are your protein, your carbs, and your fats measured in grams. You eat a specific amount to hit your calorie goal. Okay. So, for example, if your goal is to hit, 2,200 calories to burn fat for the average dude, you eat a specific amount of protein, a specific amount of carbs, specific amount of fat that'll hit that. Okay. That is how the nutrition works. Okay. So I'm going to show you the basics on how this looks. I'm going to give you your actual macros, right? And your calories right now. And then I'm going to give you an example meal plan for the day. This is for the men. I'm going to do the men first, and then I'll cover the women. We're going to show this all in one video. Okay. So this is how it's going to basically look. So this is the dudes and the girls, right? Right here. First thing, okay? So macros, 4 macros, okay? So let's say right here, so this is what you're reading right here. So macros at these percentages. Now, we use an app called MyFitnessPal to track our nutrition, okay? So in MyFitnessPal, you would actually set your goal calories up, or your goal calories first, right? So let's say the average dude's at 2,200. That's what he needs to be eating to burn fat, okay? Then he would set his carbs up at 15%, the protein up at 40%, and the fats at 45%. Now, you're probably looking at this like, what? That much protein and even more fats? Yes. Okay. Now, if you remember the last video, I was telling you the essential macronutrients are your protein and your fats. These are vital. You have to eat a significant amount of these every single day or you die. Okay, they are the priority. Now, when it comes to you cutting body fat, right, and building muscle, you have to have a significant amount of these essential macronutrients in order for your body to function optimally and to produce hormones the way you need them to so you can look and feel your best. Okay, so we eat a lot of fat. That's mainly for the guys here for your testosterone levels, mental health, cellular function, all these things, right? And then protein, so that way your body can rebuild whatever it needs. Just in case you guys don't know, protein is basically the building blocks for your entire body. Okay, your skin's made out of it, your hair's made out of it, your muscles are made out of it, your bones are made out of it. Okay, everything is made out of protein and fats. Okay, they're essential. Okay, so that's basically how you would set it up, 15% carbs. Because remember, when it comes to cutting calories, because we have to create a calorie deficit to burn body fat, we slash it from the carbs because these are actually inessential. So we're just giving you just a little bit just to keep you happy, right? And our carbs come from clean sources, okay? Fruit, vegetables, potatoes, right? Not pasta, bread, and other bullshit, all right? Now, this is based off of height levels. All right. If you're 5'4", you're going to be under 1,900 calories a day. You're around my height, you're going to be 2,100 calories a day. You're at this height, 22-ish. The average dude's about right here. Okay. Because the average dude's 5'9". So on and so forth. Right. So for the average man, what this looks like, for the average dude who's 5'9", consuming 2,200 calories a day, he's going to make that 2,200 up by eating 83 grams of carbs, 220 grams of protein, 110 grams of fat. Okay, that equals 2,200. All right. Women, same exact scenario. Your numbers are just slightly different, right? Because you guys have to eat less calories, as you can see, right? You get to eat less calories because you're women. All right. But the same exact scenario, if you're the average chick who's 5'2", right? The average chick is actually, the average chick is 5'3", actually. My wife's 5'2", that's what I was thinking of. 1,500 calories a day. That's 75 grams of carbs, 131 grams of protein, and 75 grams of fat. That right there equals 1,500 calories. All right. Now, the way that we actually eat, okay, you don't eat these calories forever, folks. What you do is you stay in these what's known as deficit days, right? These are your lower calorie days. Because remember, if you remember the last video I showed you, that you got to be burning a lot, right, from working out every day, right? We limit our calories. So whether you're a dude that's doing 22 for the average guy or a girl who's doing 15, right? This is your limit. And then all this excess that you burn from your workout, we torch body fat, right? But this doesn't mean you stay at 1,500 forever, okay? Because if you do stay and in a deficit amount of calories forever, 6 months or so, right, you're going to end up kind of slowing down your body's metabolism. It's never going to come to a screeching halt, but it will slow it down a little bit. You'll start dumping muscle if you stay in a deficit too long, right? So if you stay in a deficit for too long, your body will start to dump muscle to try to adapt, right? And when I say too long, I'm talking months, folks. It ain't going to happen in just a few weeks or a few days, okay? But to prevent that, we do what's known as, and to also give you a little bit of enjoyment with your food, because when you're eating in a calorie deficit, it's just very basic. It's very simple. It's for function. It's for results. It's not for pleasure. Okay, so one of the first steps that you need to make sure that you do is that you have to change your mindset when it comes to food. Right now, food right now is comfort, entertainment. It is life for most of you guys. You have to switch your mindset and start thinking of food as business. This is a business transaction. If you want to look a specific way and produce a specific result, you want to make $1 million or get $1 million body, you have to treat food like business. This is a business transaction. You eat a specific amount of macros and calories per day to produce a specific result. If you don't do this, you don't get the results. All right? So this is business. So start treating food like business. But like I was telling you, we don't stay in these deficit amounts forever. Okay? What we do is we cycle calories and carbs. Okay. Now we're cutting carbs the majority of the time, but we don't stay low carb forever. Although, if you do stay lower carb forever, it is an easier way to stay lean. Just an FYI, right? And you can just bump your calories up just by eating more meat, more basically animal proteins. And you can bump your calories up just by eating more protein, more fats. You can do that. It's easier to stay lean that way, right? But I know some of you guys want to have some fruit or some potatoes, or whatever, right? Because the shit you guys are chasing the dopamine high, right? So you get, once in a while, you get to actually enjoy your food a little bit more. So this is how it works. So you're going to stay in your deficit days, okay, which is your 1,500 if you're, average chick, average dude, 2,200. So these are your deficit days. You're going to stay in your deficit days for a specific amount of time. Now, if you are on the lighter end, you're only going to do this for about 6 days, okay? If you are a fatty and you're on the heavier end, okay, meaning dudes, if you're over 200 pounds, girls, if you're 5'3" and you're over 170, okay, you're staying for 13 days, okay? So you stay for 6 or 13 days straight in your deficit, burning fat by limiting your calories at the prescribed amount and then burning each day with your workouts. And then what happens is, on day 7 or 14, okay, 7 or 14, what you're going to do is we do a higher calorie day, which is also higher carb day, okay? Now, this day, you're basically going to bump it up to what your normal maintenance would be. So for the average dude, just say 3K. That's your limit, okay? So the average dude, you're going to do 3K. Girls, you're going to do 2K. Just keep it simple, okay? If you're on the taller end, ladies, like 5'10", you could get away with 2,500, okay? But for you average chicks, you're going to be doing 2K. Now, these days, you're going to basically be eating some of the same foods, just a little bit leaner protein sources. And then you're going to add some fruit or some potatoes or some kind of carbs, right? And that's the day where you're going to be doing a carb refeed and a higher calorie refeed day. Okay. And so that's what you do. So you do that for one day. I would usually plan on doing this on like a Saturday, right? This is typically a day you're going to go out on a date night, right? You can even include into these calories, you can include a glass or two of wine, but you can't eat any carbs because you ain't going to have any room for it, ladies. Okay. So it's going to be like your food and then a couple glasses of wine, you're done. Okay. That's your 2K. Boom. You're done. Okay. Dudes, you're pretty much going to be around the same. If you're planning on drinking, right, you get no carbs. Okay. It's drinking or carbs, you don't get both. All right. So, and then that'll be your higher calorie day, right? Then what happens? Right after that day, you're going to go right back into your deficit days for the prescribed amount of time again. And you keep repeating this, right? Until you're shredded, till you're at where you need to be. Okay. And then whenever you get to where you want to be, then things change. We're not even going to talk about it in this video because it's too much information for you as it is. All right. So, but that's basically how it plays out, right? Deficit days, right? Then you do a little scheduled refeed day, right? And then you repeat the cycle until you get the body that you want. Okay. So that's how that works. Now, so I'm sure you're probably like wondering like, okay, well, sure, that's my macros, but how do I hit those macros? Like, what does my day normally look like? Great question. I got the answers. Here it is. Okay, so here's how it works. Simple, simple, simple. I like to make things super, super easy and super simple. Remember, food is business. Repeat after me. Food is business. Repeat after me. Food is business. Okay, so what happens is, here's what happens. So this is for the average dude. Okay. Now, there's many ways of doing this. Now, you can see they look kind of similar, but the difference is right here in meals 2 and 3. Okay. So for example, now, before we even jump into this, you'll notice there's only 3 meals here, right? This plan right here is a 1,500 calorie day for the ladies, hitting the macros that I just prescribed for you. Okay. This one right here is basically a 2,200. See it? It's 2,184. It's almost 2,200. Okay. Now, your macros are not going to be spot on. The point is that you want to make sure you stay under your calorie limits, right? Prioritizing protein and fats. Okay. You're going to be 5 or 6 or 7 or so grams here and there. You're not going to be on point. The main thing is, remember, calories determine how much you weigh, right? Macros determine how you look. Micros determine how you feel. Now, if you'll notice, there's only 3 meals here. See this? On both of these. Why? Because the old theory that you have to feed every 2.5 hours to stoke the metabolic flame is fucking horseshit. Okay? It's fucking stupid. All right? So scratch that shit out of your head. You do not have to do this. This is how easy this is. Okay? This is how easy this is. All you got to do is for one, if you're working out first thing in the morning, which you should be, because you know you ain't gonna fucking go after work. Okay, you've been saying that for decades, and you still ain't fucking going. Okay, go before work. Get up earlier and go before work. Okay, so you can either go before work, go back home, you eat meal 1 while you're eating meal 1, cook meal 2, right, and then you just eat meal 3 once you get home. Boom, done. So you only gotta take 1 meal with you to work, or you could just fast all day and then just eat a big lunch, right? And then have dinner when you get home. You can do that too. But I've made it simple, right? Eat before you leave. While you're eating, cook your lunch. Take your lunch with you to work. And then when you get home, have your dinner, right? Boom, 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 boom. Done. See how easy that is? Now, if you'll notice here, we do what's known as meal prep hacking. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight on what I teach my clients, okay? Because I actually have like a whole video and stuff that I teach them. But if you look here, see this? 5 eggs, large ones, 6 ones, these are medium, right? So a little bit smaller, right? Measured by nature. Look at this. Measured by the company, 1 pound, you're eating the entire pound, okay? Look at this. 2 lean turkey patties, which are 4 ounces, measured by the company. 2 beef patties, measured by the company. Look at this. 1 pound, measured by the company. See what I'm doing here? We are buying and eating products that are already measured so we don't have to measure. Okay. This is the meal prep hacks that I teach my clients because when it's easy like this, there's no thinking involved. All you got to do is just scan the barcode on your app and track your number, the serving size. Super, super easy. You don't have to be busting things out to measure them, things like that for most stuff. Now, if you look at this one right here, this is a half a frozen pound bag. Okay, so if you go to the frozen food section of most of the stores, this is the same thing here. I just put 8 ounces, but it's the same thing. Okay, you can go to the stores, and in the frozen food section, they usually have 1 pound bags of broccoli, right? And you don't even have to eat vegetables, folks. If you want to go faster, I'm not even really a fan of vegetables, but some of you guys like to eat that shit. So I'm just giving you the tips on how to do it. I personally don't eat them very often, right? But you get a 1 pound bag that's 16 ounces, right? You eat half the bag in one point, half the bag at the other point. Boom. You didn't measure shit. They did it for you again. All right. And then you do that and you hit your macros, no problem. Now, if you'll notice here, really the only thing that we're measuring here is just the butter, which even that you ain't got to measure it because if you look at the little stick, you could just cut off a half a tablespoon. You ain't even got to measure that still, right? Which is 7 grams if you do a half a tablespoon. Okay. But as you can see, the whole thing is basically a little bit of a hack. And it's super simple because when it's simple to follow, it's simple to execute. And whenever you execute it, you get results, right? It's super, super easy. This whole thing of losing fat is a simple process. It just requires you to being disciplined, saying no to all the bullshit that you're offered. Here's something you guys got to understand. Every single where you go, there is going to be nothing but shit food because nobody's treating food like a business transaction. People are buying the cheapest things that they can make, usually stuff that's already pre-made, which has the worst fucking ingredients in it, just so they have some food to serve, right? Because they don't give a shit about your health. It's the same thing with restaurants. Restaurants don't give a shit about your health. They're serving you things to make them taste good so you come back. Okay? They don't give a shit about your health, which is why you want to make sure that the majority of the meals that you have come from your own kitchen, not a restaurant's kitchen, because they're using shit in their seasonings. They're cooking with seed oils. They're using all kinds of stuff that is going to lead to you having aches and pains or problems or triggering cravings, and then you overeating later, right? Or you getting some kind of gym injury because you ate something inflammatory. Okay? So you want to make sure most of your meals are coming from your own kitchen. Stop being lazy and cook your shit. Let me repeat that. Stop being lazy and cook your shit. I already showed you the easiest way to do this. And remember, it's a business transaction. You want to look good? It's a business transaction. Do you understand? So if you want to have muscles that are showing this, you want to have abs, you want to have lines in your arms and your legs, ladies, you got to treat it like a business transaction, because if you keep chasing pleasure, you keep using it as entertainment, you will always be heavy on the scale. You will always not have abs. You'll always be fluffy and not defined. Did you understand what I'm saying? So let's do a little recap what we covered here, because I just dumbed it down and simplified it for you. Okay, here's your macros. I'm going to erase this right here so that way you can actually screenshot this. Okay, so screenshot this, you guys, and then save this on your phones or your computers or wherever the fuck you got it. All right, this video is available to you for now, but I mean, it may not be here forever, but here, I'm going to blow this up, screenshot this. So that way you have it forever. Okay. So that way, so fellas, screenshot that, get it to your wife. Ladies, screenshot this, give it to your husbands, right? Because nobody wants a fat spouse, just in case you didn't know that. All right. As a fitness coach for over 20 years, the number one complaint I hear from married people that I coach is that their spouse has gotten fat. They are now disgusting. The other spouse is disgusted and they don't want to have sex with them anymore. Just saying. Okay. Just giving it to you straight. Giving it to you straight because I want you guys to have visible muscles, to have tons of confidence, and to look incredible, right? And the amount of people that actually have this is less than 1% of the population. Okay. So if you want to be one of these ones that's rare, right? There's literally more people. Here's the sad stat, okay? Here's a few sad stats. There's more millionaires in America than people with six packs, which is crazy because 100% of you already have a six pack. You just can't see it because your body fat's too high. Crazy stat, right? There's like, I think it's like, I don't know, 15, 20 million millionaires in America, right? And there's like hardly any that have a freaking abs, right? Which is crazy because you already have it, right? You just can't see it. You got to strip the fat off so you can see it, right? So, and then here's another little stat. The average female in America is 40% body fat. The average man in America is 28% body fat, both of them clinically obese, okay? The average pig in America is 16% body fat, okay? So the average American's fatter than a pig and a cow. Even cows' body fats ain't that high, okay? Just saying, right? But that's why I'm teaching you guys this stuff, because I want you guys to be able to fix it. I want you guys to be able to lose that body fat, reveal those muscles, so that way you not only are working on that multi-million dollar income, you got that $1 million body to rock it as well too. Because what good is being wealthy and having money if you get out of your car and you're fat as shit, right? Instantly your value just decreased. Right? Like when you see, like, let's say you see a dude roll up in a Lambo and you're like, damn, right? That's a nice Lambo. And then he gets out and he's 300 pounds. What do you think? Like, oh God. Like he just ruined the Lambo. Nobody even cares. Because he just proved that he didn't even master himself. So maybe his daddy bought him the Lambo. Like you automatically just disqualified any value that he had because he just showed he's low status even though he's driving a Lambo. Right? Are you walking around in your daily life looking like a Lambo? Or are you walking around daily life looking like a busted can of biscuits, right? Like this dude, right? I want you walking around looking like Lambos and Ferraris, okay? That's why I make these videos. That's why I'm giving you this free content. That's why I want you to have this. Because I want you walking around looking like a Ferrari, right? While you're working on building those millions or multiplying those millions, right? It's why we have this community. So anyways, that's all we got for this video. On the next video, we're going to be talking about how to train to actually burn those calories so you can create that calorie deficit given your macros are on point, your diet's on point. We're going to show you how to train in the next video. So stay tuned for that next one, and we'll see you soon.